Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from passionate Reds, only on All for United.
Good evening, guys. Welcome back to All for United, where we're debating the goal of the season, the most coveted prize.
Can I just stop you there, Reece?
Go ahead.
I've just seen Ben, so I think Stuart and I need to have another debate about what the hell's going on with Reece. What's he got the shades on for? Come on, Stuart, help me out here.
Hi, Ben.
What's he doing?
I don't know. Where are you?
I'm in work.
Seriously, there's an hour show.
Yeah, he's got like his invisible cloak on below his neck. I can only see.
Is it an Elvis Presley tribute band?
Yeah, just all cammed up.
I can't see it.
Well, I've got a sore throat today, boys. So you three are gonna. I've got some absolute legends helping me out here.
I'm not really prepared. I was expecting to be on in an hour's time, so I don't know where I've missed the time.
I was ready last night.
I think we all thought it was 10 o'clock, so we'll all blame Ben. So
that's all right, no worries.
So goal of the season, guys. There's quite a few. Surprisingly, how bad this season's been. I think we've got quite a few options. I've gone for a little bit outside the box, no pun intended. There you go. There's a joke there early on in the hour.
Pretty poor.
It's diabolical, isn't it? Yes, but we'll shoot. Neil, let's go ahead. What we're going to do is we're going to pick we'll have 3 goals each. We'll pick his third choice first around the table, and then we'll second and first, and then try and agree on a top 3 if we can. So, Neil, do you want to go first?
There isn't 3 good goals, is there?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. When I look through goal, and I've looked through every goal we scored this season, God, we were shit, weren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, Bruno started on fire. He was smacking him from all over the place. But
it was all in that Leeds game, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was mostly the Leeds game. But now I've gone with I know the 3 goals I've picked. Stuart's going to appreciate the skill element. I know Stuart's going to appreciate this. Ben, I don't know you well enough, but have you got a moustache as well, Ben?
Yeah, one of the guys is doing something for charity, so we've all jumped in.
What time are the village people on stage tonight, Ben? Because you might need to go in a minute.
I know.
Which one are you?
We're doing hair and makeup at 20 past. So you need to get a shift.
Well,
Neil, I thought you needed more.
Anyway,
go on.
I'm sorry, but Ben's just, I'm disturbed. Right, third favourite goal was Rashford's goal against Spurs, when he was played through and he was one-on-one with the keeper. And the reason this was a magnificent... There's no player at the club who could have scored this goal, because it was a true striker's finish, like a centre-forward's finish. He was through on goal against a top-class goalkeeper. It was one touch, out of his feet, bang. And it was swift. It was really quick. There isn't a player at the club that could finish like him. Maybe there might have been players who at their prime could have done it, but Rashford scored that was a magnificent goal. If you watch it, it was over in a blink. It was in the back of the net. It was fast. It was swift. It was like one touch, out of his feet, bang. And what that tells me, that sort of goal, is this toxic fan base that we've got. Really be careful what you wish for, because that's how brilliant Rashford could be. He can score goals like that without having to think about it. I think that was his first game back, if I remember rightly. But I'm pretty certain it was his first goal. Well, I know it was his first goal of the season, and then obviously our toxic fan base got stuck into him, and he lost it for the rest of the season. But he has to stay at the club, and the reason he has to stay at the club is that goal, because it was magnificent. It wasn't a screamer. But the skill element of that goal, he's the only one at the club who could score that goal. Oh, nice of you to join us, my friend. My invite said 9 o'clock, by the way. Anyway, I've said my third goal. You've missed that. You missed that, my friend, Sayash. Next.
I thought you needed more friends, Neil, not less. You're making less friends here.
No, I only need friends for 3 or 4 fingers. That's about it.
So which goal am I going for? My favourite or
So let's go for the third goal first. So yeah, I mean on the Rashford goal, does anybody else remember Neil's goal, by the way?
Yeah.
On that one?
Yeah, it was close to being on my list for all the reasons actually Neil said. Technically, it was a fabulous finish. It was a fabulous goal. So it was close to being on my list, but it didn't make my list. But I can give you my third goal, which is an absolute perler, by the way, and it's Harry Maguire against Atalanta, and it's his strike. Now people will look at it and think, "What the hell are you putting Harry Maguire in for?" He's been the comedic kind of personality throughout the season, but I'll tell you something, for nothing, that was not an easy finish. It was first time, and he had to keep it very, very low. Yes, the goal was gaping, but at that particular time, Maguire was going through all sorts of personal issues. He was getting ridiculed. We weren't playing well as a unit, but I thought it was a great finish. And so one up for the Maguire for me, guys. That's my third. One up for the Maguire.
Yeah, it was. I remember the goal. I was at the game actually, and it was a snapshot goal, wasn't it? Like in the bottom corner.
Difficult finish. Difficult finish.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah. The momentum was in our favour. Ben, I'll come to you. Suash, I'll come to you after, mate, because Ben was kindly waiting a little bit more on time. So Ben, what was your third goal, mate?
Mine was Marcus again, but I went for his strike against Atalanta when he got put through by Bruno on the left, and I picked that one over the other goals because that once from the moment Bruno got the ball, everything after that was prime, confident Marcus Rashford, which we've obviously not seen this season. And everything about it was just what I remember Marcus being from when he was confident and playing well, playing with freedom, not feeling like he's playing with the weight on his shoulders from the toxic fan base, and then people in the press saying all the stuff he's doing outside of work's playing on him. So I went for that one because the finish as well was the finish that he was so synonymous with when he was coming through the ranks, that like Thierry Henry-esque finish when he slips it to the side of the keeper, which he was renowned for. So that was my third goal.
Yeah, it was a good goal, very, very good goal. So Ash, what was your third choice? So we're doing top three, third choice, second choice. Hopefully you got three. So what was your third choice, mate?
First of all, sorry for being late. I had to finish a few work before I had to join. I'm picking team goals. I'm not sure if that necessarily meets the criteria, but I like to see team goals. So the one that I'm picking is for third. I'm picking Ronaldo's goal versus Arsenal. So Dalot wins the ball quickly, passes his left foot to Rashford. Rashford runs crosses to Ronaldo, and Ronaldo scores. I think that's the kind of goals I like. So that's my third choice for best goals.
Yeah, it's a good choice. Good pick.
Yeah, it's a good goal. I mean, to be fair, considering the season, there has been some decent goals, hasn't there, surprisingly. So I thought there should be a segment where we'd all be kind of picking the same ones or be struggling to think of alternative ones. But I think, we've all picked some good choices. I mean, in no particular order, really. I mean, there were, like I say, quite a few for me. I liked Ronaldo's Atalanta goal, the volley he did in the last minute. He sort of wheeled back and hit it. And I've just... It was just one of those moments again where, for me as a fan, you were just like, he just pulls us out of it again. It's just him again. Yeah. And it was
my only issue with that is he relied on the post to score. That's unacceptable. You don't never rely on the post. I'm being facetious. I'm sorry. I'm joking.
Yeah,
it was a great volley. It was a brilliant volley.
It was just ridiculous, and you could just see all the team just run to him, like as if he just did something spectacular, didn't he? I think he was
buying the first round.
What's that? Sorry.
I think he was buying the first round. That's why they were running to.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous, but no, some good goals in there. Neil, your second goal. What was your kind of second goal choice of this season?
Right. Now, there could be some of the fan base might have a pop at me at this, but I can explain why. My second favourite goal was Mason Greenwood's goal at Leicester when he stepped in from the right and absolutely, I mean, it's the closest I've ever seen someone to come and hit in the post. But you could have it was one of those ones, 2 goalkeepers in stopping that. And a bit like the Rashford one, well, in some respects, the Rashford one made me think about what could have been. And that Greenwood goal, he started the season on fire as well. He scored a really great goal against Leicester when Pogba played it, against Leeds, when Pogba played him inside the right back, and he went in and whipped one into the far post. But that goal against Leicester, he was, and then he scored he scored the goal at Wolves, didn't he, to get us out of some trouble. But the Mason Greenwood goal was a magnificent goal. Again, just came inside, got the ball out of his feet, and one thing on his mind. And I normally prefer, like Sayash, I'd normally prefer team goals. I'm much more a fan of those. But that was such a sweet strike. You watch that from every angle that Sky showed. It was a magnificent goal. And Schmeichel's a good goalkeeper. And he got nowhere near that thing. And again, Greenwood, I mean, God blimey. Look at the promise we had at the start of the season. You know, we started on fire. We were top of the league for a couple of weeks. We spent more. I listened to a stat the other day. Do you know we spent more time at the top of the league than Liverpool did this year in the whole season?
14 days, wasn't it?
That's a true stat. That was. I was watching something the other day. I can't remember what I was watching it on. But we spent more days at the top of the league than Liverpool did, and yet we only got 58 points. So we started like a house on fire, like a steam train. All players were going. All players were singing and dancing. Greenwood looked the future of not just the Man United team. He looked the future of the England team. You got Qatar. We're all thinking, bloody hell, what a fantastic options we could have going into Qatar. What a fantastic United team this could be. We're going to have strikers, all of them scoring 20 goals. And then obviously all went a bit, completely pear-shaped for Greenwood. And you know, the club have got rid of him, and he's you know, we don't know what's going to happen there. But, you know, it's very different to the start of the season. But it was just such a magnificent goal. And it gave me so much hope. And I remember watching the goal, and it actually got me out of my seat. And I'm probably, Stuart and I, a bit old in the tooth. There's not many times that United in recent years have got us out of our seat. But that goal, absolutely, I mean, that and the first goal, my favourite goal, just got me out of the seat. It was a magnificent, sweet strike. So that's me.
Vicky's asked
wow, someone shut Neil up. No, let me talk.
Vicky's asked you to shut up, Neil.
She doesn't like Mason Greenwood, I bet. Right.
No, I mean, it's...
I'm only talking about his goal, Vicky. I'm only talking about the goal. People still listen to Michael Jackson's music. They don't turn him off on the radio when he comes on. All I'm saying, it's only alleged as well.
Is this where I step in and have to be diplomatic? Is that what I have to do? You have to do it. I don't do that. No, I've noticed that. But I still keep inviting you, Neil. So
it is a tricky one, isn't it? The issue of our number 11. It's a difficult one to talk about.
You were just talking about like finishers and Rashford's finishes in your first goal, Neil. There, and
I'm just
for
talking
me,
about the goal.
But he was just. I mean, talking about Mason as a player, he was one of the best finishers I think we've seen for a long time.
Took penalties with his right foot, and took scored goals like that with his left foot. That's a true fact. Took penalties with his right foot.
Big shame, really. But Stu, what was your second goal choice, mate?
Well, I think my second choice is going to be somebody's first choice. So I apologise about that, but it is the Ronaldo volley away to Tottenham. Which was well, look, I often talk about technique and football sense, and the technique on that strike from the angle, and to be,
it's the run for me. It's the run he makes as well.
Well, he did, but if you look at where he was, he started that run 3 seconds before the ball was delivered. He knew exactly where that ball was going to go. I'm not really sure what that says about. I think it was Tellez that crossed it, wasn't it? Or was it Tellez? I think it was. I'm not quite sure what it says about Tellez because when the ball landed at Ronaldo's peg,
Bruno. Was it Bruno?
Was it Bruno? Either way, when the ball landed at Ronaldo's peg, if you look at exactly where he was, to finish against the keeper of, people might say Lloris is rubbish. I don't think he is. I think he's a very, very competent Premier League goalkeeper. And to finish that, the way that he did, with no swagger, but just precision, I just thought it was just something special. I mean, look, I strive to do that in my mediocre career, and I've only ever done it 5 times. So I could have told Ronaldo I had to take it properly. Again, I'm joking, guys. But no, for me, the way he just looked at it, I just thought it was a phenomenal goal. Yes, Vicky, you are right. Sorry, I thought it was it Tellez?
It was Fred's assist, wasn't it?
I'm just double checking.
It was Fred's assist.
Was it Fred's assist? Yeah, we're all wrong. Yeah. But either way,
Vicky, you were wrong.
Yeah, the actual precision I just thought was outstanding. So he's that's my second favourite goal. So my first goal has got to be pretty special.
It has, and I'm wondering whether it's a Man United goal you're talking about, Stu, because there's not many more
when I tell you about it, and you'll love it. You'll love it.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether it was the Ronaldo. Was it? I can't remember the goal now. Was it Ronaldo chopped to Bruno? Bruno back to, I can't remember the goal now, if I'm brutally honest. But yeah, was that the Spurs game? But anyway, Ben, let's come on to you, mate. What's your second goal?
So I had 2. One was the Mason one against Leeds, just because I don't think anyone else in the team can finish like he did, as calmly without lashing it. But the goal I've gone for is just, it was a great team goal, but it just jumped out at me just as so ironic in the 3 players that were involved in the goal. And it was Lingard's goal against Newcastle at the end. When Pogba played him in, Martial dummied it, and Lingard then did that slick bit of skill to score. And I just thought that was so ironic that the 3 players that played a part in that goal potentially aren't all going to be at the club anymore. And I just thought that encapsulated our club in the season with the 3 players involved, because it was a great technical goal. Great movement from all players, but the irony being that those 3 players won't be at the club anymore.
Yeah, it was a lovely goal, that was, and I felt Lingard was sort of like the early part of that season. He played he featured a little bit, didn't he, with Ronaldo in some of those early Champions League games as well.
Yeah, because he scored the belter against West Ham as well, didn't he?
Yeah. I feel like he's making a little bit of an impact on the team, but for whatever reason didn't sort of make his mark, did he, beyond that, to be honest. So but again, for those that are watching, by the way, there is sort of a few people watching. Just drop your comments in, you put your goals in, and we'll chat about your goals as well. So pop them in the comments and we'll have a chat about your goals. It's not one we've already selected. So Ash, who was your second goal choice, mate?
I thought so hard on this one, and I thought no one would take the nominations that I was going to give. But my second goal is also the Lingard goal, for the team goal that it was. Pogba's pass and exchange with Tony, Martial dummy, Lingard scores. Like those are the kind of goals I want to see next season under Ten Hag, and his football is kind of that way. But good. I have a backup. That's a good thing for me. So I'd give it to the Alex Telles goal. The Bruno takes the set piece and he passes it to Alex Telles, and he kicks it with power.
You're on about the Villarreal volley?
Yes. Yeah. So I'll give it, but my original choice was the Lingard goal. But yeah, it was taken away.
Ben got there before you.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, my second choice, and I didn't do as much homework as you guys, if I'm brutally honest. But
that's not acceptable. You're the
I
host.
know it's not acceptable,
I
especially from
know.
my
You
host.
set the homework,
He's
Reece.
bleeding host.
I know.
Stuart, he wants us to do the job for him.
I know.
I know. It's terrible. That's the kind of host I am. I don't give it. I make you do all the work.
Well,
that's it.
Poor
Take the
at
glory.
best. Average at best, my friend.
I know. Plastic fan. That's what I am, Neil. Now that's going to get broadcasted in the chat. No, my second was the. I've gone sort of outside the box really because I know you guys have been picking some of the Ronaldo goals and other
You
bits.
go to that gag against you outside the backs.
Oh no.
It was a Sancho goal against Villarreal. It was a Sancho goal where he hit the crossbar. Like he had a good game that game, and it capped off his.
You can have that one because that was a backup of mine, so I'll let you have that one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, it was a Sancho goal because I just felt like it just kind of rounded off his performance in that game, and it kind of then went over a bit of a crest of a hill where he was having some bad performances, and I think some of the fans, not all the fans, probably not any of us guys, were sort of ridiculing him a little bit for probably not being at that level, and I think he proved everyone wrong that game. So yeah,
I actually thought the Chelsea goal said more about him as a player and how much character he's got.
Yeah.
By the fact that because him and Marcus broke, and it was kind of you can't but not score. To be as calm and collected as he was, when he'd had all that negativity being thrown at him by not playing and not performing like he did at Dortmund, I thought that said a hell of a lot about him as a person.
And he did a little trick as well. That was one of my backup goals, Ben. That was a good goal. You've been hacking my computer, Ben.
Can't tell you that. I mean, work.
I can't see you because you're in camouflage.
Is it even Ben? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it looks like it could be Elvis.
Well,
but no, the Sancho and his Man City goal was good, wasn't it? As well, I felt like that game. He was the only one really sort of showing any sign of quality, and he scored that wonderful sort of curled effort in the bottom corner. But yeah, that was my second goal. So on to we're 20 minutes in here, guys. We're gonna have to really sort of push this out, aren't we? And think of some other goals that didn't make the top 3 list after this as well. So we'll try and do that. Plus, if you haven't got any comments, people watching, drop them in so we can add a little bit more to this as well. So Neil, over to you, mate. What was your goal of the season?
Well, Stuart stole my fire, and I knew I'd sent Stuart a message saying we've got the same goal because we're both a couple of old bastards. So we appreciate the skill element of Ronaldo's goal. That was because it was a completely overhit shot. He had to change his feet, and he just passed it into the far corner, and it was an utterly magnificent goal. And the weird thing about that goal was I was absolutely slaughtering Ronaldo on the AFU feed that game because he was doing sweet Fanny Adams, which is what he normally does when the ball's nowhere near him, to be honest. But then he comes out and scores a goal like that, and I think I got a bit of pushback on the grief that I was giving him. But anyway, so Stuart sneaked my first goal. The Harry Maguire one was one of my backup goals. So Stuart and I are doing all right at the moment. We should have just done this together, Stuart.
Yeah,
so my second backup goal.
Basically, Stu did your homework, Neil. That's what I said.
No, he didn't, because I thought the show was 9 o'clock Thursday, so I did my homework yesterday.
Oh, right.
I thought it was 10 o'clock. I did.
You thought it was 10 o'clock today. I thought it was 9 o'clock yesterday. I've had a couple of bangs on the head, as you can see. Look at that for a scar. Look at that one. That's coming up well, isn't it? Yeah. So, long story there. So, so my fifth backup goal is, I think I mentioned this before, Mason Greenwood against Leeds. And the reason, there's a bit of a story behind this one as well. Pogba played the ball inside the right back, and it was a magnificent ball from Pogba. First game of the season against Leeds. Greenwood, one touch out of his feet into the far corner, and you thought, right, season's off and running. We've got a chance. Pogba's on fire. He's had a good summer. Greenwood's on fire. The team's slaughtered Leeds, who are utter shit. Talk about a bad season. Leeds stayed up. I mean, we've had a bad season at United. They stayed up last week. So we slaughtered Leeds. We started on fire. The strikers were scoring goal. The midfield was playing well. And I thought, here we go. Didn't expect us to challenge, and funnily enough, we didn't. But we started like a house on fire. The first few games, Bruno was on fire, Green was on fire, Pogba was on fire. Pogba's gone, Greenwood's gone. Like you've said, Suya said, Martial's gone. Lingard's good riddance. I mean, I will talk about Varane's goal, Vicky, but really, one goal. I know you're fancying Vicky, so anyway, because you put that on your Twitter feed. But Greenwood's goal against Leeds, because I just from my point of view, it really set the season up, and it just made me think, because United's always been a team we like the young guns to fire. We love the experienced players to fire, but when the young guns fire and they get their feet, so we had Greenwood scored in early goals in early games. Rashford, when he came back and the team started scoring, and then it obviously all went tits up all across the board. But that was my 5th goal, but Stuart's burnt me there. But I expected it, Stuart. I did say you.
Well,
because we appreciate football the way we do.
We do, and you're going to appreciate the my first pick now, and I know you will. And it's the one against Arsenal away. The cross from Matic to Ronaldo.
Yes.
And he could only do one thing with that. He could only do one thing. And the touch, the take to be able to then scoop it up in between 2 defenders, by the way, which he had muscle, and an on-rushing goalkeeper, which I think was Ramsdale at the time, wasn't it? To be able to scoop that ball over, I can't tell you how difficult a goal
that was amazing skill.
It's a phenomenal goal, and everything about it. The cross was perfect, but Ronaldo was a split second quicker than anyone else, including the goalkeeper, the 2 centre halves, to take that ball. It was a brilliant, brilliant goal.
Can I ask Stuart a quick question? And this is from one old git to one that's slightly younger, but you're still an old git, Stuart. No disrespect. Weren't we just the shittest good team we've ever seen? Well,
yes.
I mean, because we were such a shit team in the end. But God, did we were good. When we showed flashes. When you look back at this, is quite depressing to do this.
Yeah, when you look at some of the goals that we could have chosen, actually, there's been some brilliant goals, some great team goals, and some great finishes. Yeah. But we've just got to look at, well, it's football sense, isn't it? You know as well as I do. I talk about it all the time. It's football sense, isn't it? Yeah. And when we got it right, though, my God, did we get it right? We really did get it right. Yeah, like that Matic, that's the only type of cross he ever put in this season. But it was pinpoint, it was accurate. And to the greatest striker, in modern day football, not the world has ever seen, because Neil will attest to this, there has been some phenomenal players way before Ronaldo.
I think the other Ronaldo was a better goal scorer, to be honest.
He was, yeah, brilliant goal scorer. But for me, that's number one. That's
a great goal. That's fair play. That's a great goal.
Which one, just remind me, Stu, which one was that again?
That's Ronaldo away to Arsenal.
Away to Arsenal.
It's a shame you can't show it, even if you put credit it to someone. It's just a brilliant.
Do you know, Reese? I knew Stuart and I would be so close on this. I just weirdly, and we've never met, but I knew we'd be so close on this. Ben, I used to know Ben, but I don't know the guy I'm looking at in this picture.
Well, I've actually gone for 2 for different reasons.
You can only have one. Well, that's what I
have one.
The reason. Let me finish. I'll tell you why. Then you'll understand. So the first goal is Ronaldo's goal against Atalanta to make it 3-3, because that goal embodied everything about him. His desire to win the ball, his desire to get above the defender, and factoring in all that, plus the pressure of the fact that was probably going to be the end of the game, to still be composed enough to direct a header that most centre forwards would have loved to have done without anybody around them. And again, as he did in various games in the Champions League this season, before we got knocked out, he when everyone else is flapping, he remains calm, and he just knows that no matter what happens, if I get one chance, because of the confidence that he exudes, he knows he's going to finish. And then my flip that side on that one is I've gone for Fred and the goal against Palace, because I thought if ever there was one person I wanted to score a goal this season above all the negativity that was always thrown at the club, was him, because he got so much flack under Jose, which I didn't agree with. He was always used as the scapegoat under Jose, but he never shirked. He always put a shift in. Even if he didn't have a great game, he never stopped trying. Even when he was getting all the shit he was getting, even this season as well, when fans just jumped on him for some reason, because if anyone else had a bad game, it was then Fred's fault. If Fred wasn't even playing, it was still Fred's fault. But the goal he scored against Palace, a lot of players that would have been considered a lot better than him would have been walking away going, "I've just sort of scored a worldie there." And I think Fred, in some ways, almost embodies what we want a United player to be. Aside from he might not have the best, he might not be as good technically as some players that we want to come to the club. The stuff that you can't buy, that he has inside him, he always shows. He never shirks, even if his touch might not be the best, or he might make a mistake, and he knows that the fan base are going to jump on him straight away on social media. He never stops going. He always tries. So I wanted to mention just because of that sheer fact. I mean, Ronaldo, the goal that Ronaldo scored was my number one, but I felt deserved a mention because of the fact that he does so much, which people just either choose to ignore because they don't want to admit that he's actually been a good player for us, because then that would be admitting that they actually like him, or they just don't want to acknowledge it. But I think he deserves an acknowledgement because of how he's been in the time that he's been at the club.
No, I agree. I think it was. I was at the game. It was one of my choices actually, and backups, because it was one of those games where it was Ranić's first game as well. We played all right. We played quite well, and then we were just struggling to. I think like we have this season, as much as this is about goals, I think we've struggled to create a lot this season. At times,
we haven't created enough team goals, have we? I mean,
no, they've been flashes.
I love where Soyash is coming from. But we just, and I know I'm pretty certain Stuart will agree with this one. A great team goal is that gets you out of your seat. There are certain goals in history that get you out of your seat. Giggs' one against Villa, those type of goals. Cantona's against Liverpool in the cup final. But you love a great team goal. You know, you watch World Cups, you see great team goals. You watch the league. Liverpool have scored some great team goals this year. City have scored some amazing team goals. And it just shows the fact that Soyash has decided to go that route. I think it's difficult. I think it's really, really difficult to sort of pick team goals, because it just shows how poor a season. Yeah, we've scored some great goals. We've had a poor season because the team has never settled enough to score great goals. Jarvis, just wait, Jarvis. Wait to the end of the show. But
we've been good at nearly scoring great team goals, but we've just never been in that good enough.
I watched a couple of warm-ups. In the warm-ups, we've scored some unbelievable.
Oh no, we've been the best team at not finishing off a great team goal.
I love where Soyash is coming from. The answer to that question is no, I'm not. But I love where Soyash is coming from in terms of. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, my friend. But it's been hard to pick team goals, and I know Stuart. Like, we know each other well enough that we could be cousins or something. But we just haven't had a team. We haven't had a good enough team to score team goals, if you like, and that's really bad. That's really quite disappointing.
I mean, I still don't think no one has scored a better team goal than us since that one that Ronaldo finished off, where it was him, Rooney, and Ji-sung Park against Arsenal.
I was there.
That was one of the best goals I've seen, from a team's perspective.
I got so drunk that night after that game.
We sort of did it again.
Way to Arsenal, Stuart.
Yeah. It was a Champions League.
Yeah,
Rooney played the ball out and basically run the length of the pitch, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think that was the goal, wasn't it?
We did it again, didn't we? I think it was it Nani played it.
Rooney did it. Yeah, Rooney did it. It was against
Arsenal, wasn't it?
Arsenal, yes. When we wore the black kit.
Yeah. Rooney scored, yeah. So I did it again.
That was when he got best goals.
He wasn't a bad player, was it?
Rooney, he was all right. Yeah.
Yeah, he was all right.
Yeah, he scored a few goals.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, I've got a good question just to.
Go on, mate.
But no. It's nothing to do with goals.
All right, okay.
Who's
Do you want to
goes
leave it to the
next?
end? Yeah, Suash, we'll come to you, mate. What was it? Just remind me what your second goal was again, Suash, and then we'll come to your top goal. So I want to write them down. So, what was your second goal again?
Yeah, my second goal was originally the Lingard goal, but Ben took that, so I gave the backup, which was Alex Telles' goal from Bruno Fernandes's free kick pass.
Right, brilliant. And then what's your goal then, mate? What's your number one goal this season then?
For my number one, I think for what it means, Rashford's goal. It's another team goal. So it starts off with Ronaldo, taking a couple of players on, passing it to Martial. Martial just running into the defender, just about till the right time, and then notices Cavani running off the defender, passes it to Cavani to Rashford. Goal.
That was the goal I was talking about.
That was a beautiful goal, and for what it means, I mean, it saves us from an embarrassing Conference League spot. I think that goal means a lot for us this season.
Yeah, Ronaldo did like a Ronaldo. He did a chop, didn't he, as well? I think he did like a little Ronaldo, and then played it in. Yeah. No, that was the goal I was talking about. That was a brilliant goal. Yeah. It's a shame like Martial's kind of been involved in sort of like two of the whatever like 15 goals that we've mentioned, whatever it's been.
I saw a Martial goal that was quite a team goal where was it against Newcastle where someone stepped over one. So I think it was Bruno went to go and play it, let it run through his legs, and Martial was running through from the left and just swept it into the net.
That was a Lingard goal, wasn't it?
No. There was a Martial one where he just.
He scored a good one against Everton.
Everton. The Everton goal.
Yeah, that's right.
Everton goal was a good goal.
Everton.
Yeah,
sorry, Ben, I couldn't see you there in your camouflage.
It's all right, mate. I'll help you out. I'll help you out whenever you struggle. Don't worry.
Yes. So, I just couldn't see you there, mate. Take the sunglasses off. You're indoors. You're not going to get.
They're glasses, mate. They're glasses. They've just got
extractive
lenses.
I thought they were sunglasses the way you're looking.
No, they adjust to the light whenever you enter a room. They adjust to the light.
Yeah.
This is not a prescription.
You're not driving a tank. You're not driving a tank later this evening, Ben.
No.
But the Martial goal against Everton, he just swept it. Was it Bruno? Was it Bruno or did Bruno step over it?
Bruno.
And it went through to Martial.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who stepped over it? Who played the? Wasn't there a dummy played in that move? And then Martial just stepped in and swept it in the net in one move. And then again, you look at that goal and you think, bloody hell, we could have been a great side. Was that not a great side? That's over the top. We could have been a better side.
Was that Cavani's goal? Did you say? I can't remember. That was Cavani's goal.
No, it was a Martial goal. I tell you one goal I do like. I'd give a nomination to Cavani's goal against Spurs when he dinked it over the keeper. Because that's
when Ronaldo put him through.
Ronaldo put him through and he just stabbed the ball and he sat it up over the keeper.
Yeah,
and I would have. Oh, yeah.
So
I thought Cavani was.
So that was Rashford's goal. Is it what Rashford's goal against who? Sorry.
West Ham.
Was it
West Ham?
West Ham? Did you say?
West Ham. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Right, guys. So we've pretty much. I think we've kind of come to a bit of a conclusion in terms of who won.
Right.
Who has won that.
Well, Ronaldo over the shoulder has to win, in my opinion. I mean, I think
he's got 3 votes, so I think we're pretty much. I think we're pretty much kind of in agreement of that. Just put them there. Yeah, you're all reading it now, aren't you? Which is going to take up all your time.
No, I'm not really good at reading. I'm not really good at reading.
The only other goal I want to mention, or 2 goals, is one because I really like the player and I managed to see him live in the Champions League for Ajax before he signed for us. It wasn't a great goal, like everyone's going to get out of the seat and go, my God, what a worldie that was. But it was just because of how much stick he got, because everyone claimed he wasn't one of our signings, was Van der Beek's goal against Norwich. Because even though it was an easy goal, in theoretically to score, you only have to look at Lukaku's miss from 6 yards for Chelsea to know that he can still miss from that close. But it was just because he was getting so much. I mean, I've championed him since we signed him because I thought it was unbelievable for Ajax in the Champions League when they had that run to the semi-finals. And I just felt that he's never really been given that proper run to establish himself in a position where he can go, you know what, over a course of period, you've not met the grade, but you've at least been given a crack at it. He was never given that chance. So the goal he scored, I just thought was, even though I know we then farmed him out to Everton, which I thought was sending him to the Wolves, really, I was just pleased he at least got a goal for the club before he then went on.
Then he went to Everton, not the Wolves.
No, sorry, yeah. No, I mean, as in, we sent him to Wolves. As
I
in
know,
the Lamb.
I'm just being a dick.
I know. I just thought
You know me, Ben.
I just thought I'd enhance that point.
Ben, you know me so well. We've spoken on the phone privately.
I know. And then the only other goal. Well, no, that goal, because of obviously what he was going through as a player, and I just felt that we've never really seen who he thinks he wants to be for us as a club.
Yeah.
And then the other goal I wanted to mention, which wasn't to do with the first team at all, because I think the lad's got so much, he's going to be absolutely world class, is Garnacho's penalty for the Youth Cup final.
Yeah, second the piss though.
Just everything about the lad to have that composure and cojones and confidence in front of a full house in obviously a game of massive significance for him and the team was just, I thought, you know what, that boy's destined for the stars.
It's like he was a Brumman. No, the one goal I'd also like to mention is, and it was mentioned before, was Bruno's against Newcastle. The reason, and it was a ripper, but the reason I didn't put it in my top three was because where was the defence? No one closed it down. He could take not one touch, not two. He could take as many touches as he wanted. So as soon as that left his foot, that was, and it was a magnificent strike. It was moving all over the place. But the reason I didn't include it, there was someone who mentioned his goal earlier. But the reason I didn't mention it was because there was just no one defending him. It was like he was doing that in training, and there was no one in goal.
Are we doing like shouts, like other goals that didn't make it?
Yeah, let's have you. Sorry, Gail. Let's have your backup. Let's have your backup goals. So the goals that didn't sort of make your top three. Any goals?
Gents, just before we do that, I've had a text off my lad. I've got to go pick him up. Embarrassingly enough, so I'm going to have to do it that, I'm afraid.
Just text
I was just wondering if we could
text him back, Neil.
I have texted him back. He texted me about 10 minutes ago, so I'm going to have to go in a minute. But maybe we could just do a quick vote on everyone's top goal and then see if we can agree on a winner.
I think the overall winner's been the Ronaldo goal, hasn't it? I think we're all Ronaldo. That Ronaldo Spurs goal was pretty special, wasn't it? That's got my vote anyway. That
will be one of the most underrated goals of the season across the board.
Yeah, well,
any club in that top flight, because the skill element in that, because he could have fell on it. There's a lot of players would have fell on their arse trying to do that, and he did that. Again. So Stuart pointed out a really, really top class goalkeeper, and that goalkeeper's got a World Cup medal, so he can't be that bad.
Yeah. Just want to have a quick whip round in terms of like goals. As much as it's not Man United, the goals of the season, really. Any other goals that you saw this season that were like special that you wanted to give a bit of a mention to, just out of, I suppose, kind of a bit of fair play?
Normally, if it leaves De Bruyne's foot.
Yeah, had a few decent ones this season, haven't it?
Sancho's goal versus Chelsea. Sorry.
Neil, do you want to go in order? Suresh, we'll start with you, and then we'll work his way back up to Neil. So, any goals that stood out for you this season? Can
we start with Neil so I can do this and then zip off?
We'll start with you, Stu.
I'll tell you what. We'll start with Stu. Let's start with Stu, and then we'll come to Neil, and then we'll go down to Suresh and Ben.
Well, as I don't like any of the opposition at all, then I couldn't really pick one out the air, because I'm normally, if it's against us, I'm normally in despair. So I think it's a tough question that to kind of suggest what I think would be a really good goal. So I'm kind of struggling with it, to be honest. Don't know.
I watched just maybe help you a little bit. I remember watching the game actually live. It was against, was it Liverpool? I think it was Liverpool Chelsea, and Kovacic scored that volley and he wheeled back off.
Yeah, but he won't do that again. But he won't ever do that again.
Well, he
I
won't.
don't think
But
he's
it's
ever.
still a
Yeah,
great
he's
goal.
not done it before, and he won't. And I don't think he'll ever do that again, will he? Because like Alonso scored a couple of decent goals, haven't they? I don't really know if I'm being brutally honest. I
What
don't.
about
Really,
Salah's goal against City?
yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty.
That
I
was a hell
watched
of
that
a
one. I
goal.
was watching that one as well. It just
That
yeah,
was a hell of a goal, wasn't it?
yeah. It
when you
was
watch it in
actually.
real time, you like you can defend better than
Against
that. But then when you
against a
watch it back,
tremendous
like,
defence as well. Against a
Yeah.
really good defence. That was a hell of a goal.
Some,
Best keeper in the league. Best,
yeah, some scored a couple of
statistically the
decent
best
goals, haven't
defence.
they?
That was a
Yeah,
great goal, Salah. And I hate the bastard.
yeah. I don't like him either. I can't
Sorry,
really think of
Mom.
one.
Sorry,
I
Mom. I
can't
know
really
you're
think of
watching.
one. Lads, I'm gonna have to shoot. I'm gonna have to go get him. I'm gonna
all
get
right, Stu. Well, thanks,
See you
mate.
later, Stu.
Thanks, lads.
See you, buddy.
See you, boys.
Cheers,
See you later,
mate.
mate.
Ta-ra.
Ben, have you got a goal of the season? Obviously, we've agreed on Ronaldo's. I think we're all safe on agreeing that Ronaldo's goal against Spurs.
I've got two, and that is it. One wasn't a Premier League goal, but my first goal, and no other goal for me in football this season will trump it, is the first goal that Christian Eriksen scored for Brentford. Nothing.
Yeah,
It wasn't a worldie, but it was purely just because of what that person's been through to be back on a football pitch. And I know there's been better goals technically and all that sort of stuff, but just because, even though I'm not a Brentford fan, I never will be, I've actually in some ways looked out for how they've done this season, just to see how he's got on, because I just think it's such a positive story for anybody in a walk of life that's been through something as catastrophic as that there is always something positive at the end that can be achieved, or there's always something else you can go and do. So for me, that for me topped all of the goals that were scored that weren't a United goal this season, because of all that was involved with the individual who scored the goal, and the fact that he's to first of all be back walking and alive, but then to be back playing, and not only playing but playing bloody well all season in what's always described as the toughest league in the world, and is being touted with our club as a free transfer, which I wouldn't shake my head at if we signed him. I mean, that to me says everything about the player in terms of his character and his desire still to still push on, even when you think it'd have been easy and nobody would have questioned him if he'd have gone, after what happened, that's me, I love the game, but I'm stopping because of what happened. But he hasn't. He's sort of took it almost as a positive and used all the emotion that would have been involved in that situation as a positive to drive on and do what he did for Brentford this season. And I think for me, that's probably been the best thing that's happened this season, outside of and all the goals we've spoken about with the club, and obviously other stuff that's happening in the club in terms of the youth guys winning the cup. That for me is the positive story of the season. And then the only other one I want to speak about, really, just because of who it was against, was Benzema's penalty. Panenka.
Yeah.
That for me was the best goal outside the Premier League that I've seen, because of the whole pressure that was on it, and to have the cojones to do that. And it was against Man City, which made it even better.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, wasn't it? It shows you a guy on high confidence. But to come back to your Eriksen point, it's incredible. To be honest, I was listening to the talk. Should I say the name?
No, talk
something.
And I know who you want about.
I happened to listen to it, and they were on about Eriksen, and just for the fact that the guy survived, that the guy then came back to football, that the guy then came to the Premier League, and like you say, then Ben, he's actually not just the Premier League, but he's actually.
I would, yeah.
I would.
I had this argument with a friend of mine and my brother, because they were like, "Oh, I don't know, Ben. We're just going down that same path again, signing somebody who's 30 or 30. I don't know exactly how old he is." And I said, "Well, for me, it's a no lose situation for us, because he's proved this season that he can play in the Premier League. So you've not got. It's not like if he'd have stayed in Inter Milan and you'd have gone, well, with everything that's happened to him, the demands of the Premier League are far more exertion will be needed than in our league than it would in Italy. He's proved himself in the Premier League, and he's played a hell of a lot of games for Brentford. But he's not just played a hell of a lot of games. He's played a hell of a lot of games with sheer quality. And I just think I don't see any negatives of signing him. He's a free. He doesn't strike me as somebody who would be clambering for having the world given to him like Sanchez did when he signed for us. I don't think you'd see that in the papers that he's asking for ridiculous sums of money. I think he'd be great around the youngsters in terms of his ability, his work ethic, how they can look at him as someone to look up to as a role model. And it'd almost be that perfect pillar for me, because a lot of youngsters might be daunted about maybe speaking to Cristiano because of the whole Cristiano package and think, well, I can't really talk to him because he's just so far above me. Whereas he'd be that perfect middle ground. He's a world-class player. He's got such ability and quality. And not only that, he plays in a position where we've got some very talented youngsters who could massively learn from him. And when it comes to the Europa League, which we're in, Erik ten Hag, and of course he also knows the Ajax way, because a lot of players that he's played with who were from Ajax. And I just think he'd be great for Erik ten Hag as well as the team, that we could play him in games where maybe he's not going to be a first choice in another game, but in Europe, some of the cup games, you could put him as skipper because he's skipper for Denmark sometimes, and he adds to the squad. He adds to the squad depth and quality. And for me, I would rather sign him for nothing than sign a player of equivalent age, and there's a fee involved, and you don't know how he's going to be in the Premier League. He's answered all he's answered all the boxes for you, hasn't he?
I think the usual conundrum, the usual conundrum that you have, I think, is signing players these days is the big wage that comes kind of with it and the demands. And I think someone like Ericsson, in the situation that he's in, is not going to come with all that. He's going to come with that quality.
Well, yeah, because if he was going to come with all that wage, Brentford wouldn't have afforded him.
Yeah, because if you doubled his Brentford wage, what would he be on at United? 120, 130 grand? And like Ben is alluding to, he just wants to play football now. He played for the dog and duck. If it meant playing football, I don't think this is a guy with a heart attack on the pitch. So I don't think he's in it for the trophies. He's in it for the accolades, because the whole world loves Christian Eriksen, and any team that he's playing. I mean, I think 50% of the reason that Brentford probably stayed up. But if you could get him, I'd take it. And that, joking aside, no, I'm not going to make the joke. It's too obvious. But I'd take him immediately. Because he could come in he could come into United, and you could say to him, right, help. He knows Ten Hag. He can help with the youth, like Ben's saying. He knows Ten Hag. He knows the system. He knows exactly what Ten Hag would want. So he'd help with the kids, and he'd help with moving forward with the team over the period of time that Ten Hag's got to try and rebuild this ramshackle club that we all love. So I'd take him. There's no risk. He's proved it already.
Well, yeah, I agree. We took a bit of a U-turn, or the left turn, should I say. So, Ash, what was have you got kind of a goal of the season, if we're going to be fair to the rest of the Premier League? Have you got a goal of the season, mate, or anything like that?
I don't remember who the opposition was, but it was Man City's goal. A cross comes in and Bernardo Silva really kills the ball. Just a touch for Gabriel Jesus to score. I think that touch was so delightful. So I don't remember who the opponent was. My memory is not that great when it's not Man United games, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember the goal, but I don't remember the opposition. That was that touch from Silva was epic.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a few. There was Bernardo scored a nice goal, I think, against Watford as well. So there's been some decent goals on this season and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do we obviously with everything coming up next season, transfers and everything? Do we expect to be sort of getting the Golden Boot next year? Then do we think it'll be somebody at United, or what we hoping for next season?
No. I think I just think with it just on the transfer window, this is a slight left turn. I'm just hoping that the business and one of the reasons I'm hoping that Ten Hag's coming quicker than we were expecting him is to get the transfer business done as soon as possible. But you look at Villa, they've started signing. Even Leeds have managed to sign players. Villa have signed a player that I know we were definitely linked with that centre half. So they're moving quick time players. They're in for Calvin Phillips as well. I just hope that if Calvin Phillips goes to Villa, I'll have a bloody heart attack, and I'm not far off one anyway. But above us, because that would just be ridiculous. But I just hope. I don't see the winner of the Golden Boot coming from United. I don't see us. I'd like us to win something like the best defence, the most clean sheets. I think we're capable of that with what Ten Hag is trying to do. So I'm hoping he'll, as all great teams are, hopefully you build from the back and you get the solid foundation and you can move the team forward. It seems that De Gea is I mean, it's all conjecture. There's so much conjecture; it drives us all insane. We wish we knew, but stuff that's coming out from the club. Is it going to be De Gea? Is it Henderson? But Ten Hag seems that he's going to build from the back, because the first player we've been linked to is the kid from Ajax, isn't it? The centre half, and also we're strongly linked with the kid from Villarreal. Is it Torres?
Yeah,
Pau Torres. So we've been linked with two centre halves. So if those rumours are true, which I hope they are, then that shows his thinking, because you need centre halves that are consistent and don't get injured all the time. One isn't consistent, and the other one seems to be 3 games. Right, I've done my hamstring, or I've done this, or I've done that. I don't know how past the medical our place were ran, by the way. I mean, it's amazing considering the amount of games he's missed. But anyway, that's for another day. So I just hope that the transfer business window is done quickly so the players can bed in. But let's not get caught short like we always seem to have done under Woodward in all these past years. Is Woodward still involved in any of the transfer, or is he completely gone now?
no, he's gone completely.
Oh, he's completely gone.
He's gone. Judge is gone.
So there's no excuse then.
Nope.
I mean, what do you think we need to spend? 200 million in the first window. I'm thinking 3 or 4 windows, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be very much, is it? I think it's not going to be much more than 150. I mean, what's your thoughts, Ben, on that?
Thing is, you read so much in social media about because obviously everyone just can't but help talk about our club. I'm not actually too worried about the clubs that are signing players at the minute, because I look at it on the basis of that. One, Erik Ten Hag wasn't announced until towards the end of the season. So, like, for instance, Villa, Gerrard's been able to get his ducks in a row far, far quicker than we have, because he's not been brought into the club at the very, very tail end of the season. 2, Erik Ten Hag is synonymous with being an incredibly shrewd, methodical, and looking at every single detail about what player he wants for the club and the team moving forward. Whereas you think if I flipped it back to not last season, the season before last under Woodward, before the season had ended, we were being linked with all these players. I'm thinking, what on earth are we being linked with him for? And then they became almost serious links. And I'm thinking, I've got no idea why we're even buying this player. But I think that's why you're seeing a lot of rumours now where the media are just throwing players out there to try and see what lands at the door of our Old Trafford. But nothing's coming out, because Erik Ten Hag's just gone, no, close shop. Until I'm ready until I'm ready for the club to release what we're going for, nothing's being led. So you can make all these rumours. It doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter about the noise. It's what comes out of our office that's most pertinent. But also, to me, the whole figure thing's irrelevant, because you could get given 100 million, Reece, and I get given 400 million, and I could spend it like an absolute twat. And you could spend it perfectly, looking at exactly what you need and bringing in the right players for those positions that you want to fill. I don't care if Erik Ten Hag signs 4 players, and I've never heard of them. But if they're brought in to do the job that he wants them to do for the better of the team, then that's fine by me. The money thing's just something for the media to jump on and go, oh, look how much United have spent, or look how much City have spent. Here's how much the Premier League teams have spent to illustrate how much money is getting thrown at the Premier League against other leagues. For me, it's irrelevant how much money we spend, as long as we spend it well. Whether that's 50 million or 150 million, I don't care. I just firmly believe this season we'll actually see a window where we've spent wisely on players that I can actually think, you know what, I see why Erik Ten Hag's bought him. Not, I've got no idea why we bought him, but we bought him now, and clearly there's some plan for him. But we never actually see the plan, because the amount of times you watch the play and you think, Why did I still don't know why we signed him. And then you feel bad for the player because he's then getting stick, but it wasn't his fault. He signed.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've got a big task on us, haven't we? And I think I don't know how much money we'll get, and I don't know, like you said before, whether that's even relevant. You know, Ten Hag's obviously clearly going to be coming with his targets, and whether that meets the budget is another thing, isn't it? Suresh, what's kind of your thoughts next season? Then obviously just to kind of wrap up on this in terms of what we need for next season, what Ten Hag's got to try and bring to try and get those that harmony and those goals again in the team. Where do you think he needs to strengthen up?
I think the number one place is midfield, and my worry is the club is going to be happy with just one midfielder, and will start looking at different positions. But I really think we need two midfielders. Both Fred and McTominay, they need to get back into the bench, and we need two starting midfielders in there for me. One has to be good on the ball. So I'm really happy I'm seeing the Frankie de Jong links. Hopefully that comes true. It's still looking difficult though because we are not in Champions League. And then the other has to be that sort of anchor man in midfield. We don't have that. Someone
Calvin
like
Phillips.
So someone like of the profile of Matic, but obviously someone else. So if that we could do something like that, then the rest of them will automatically look better. The attack will have a better foundation. The defense will have better protection. Like we've not signed midfielders for 3 to 4 years now. That's a long time that we've not signed a proper central midfielder.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't know where we need to strengthen. I think we need to strengthen everywhere. I don't think there's a specific zone, is what I mean, in terms of where we need to target. I think we need fullbacks. I think the centre half positions aren't somewhere where we need. Are they good enough? I think we need to give them another season to find out. Probably not good enough. Neil's shaking his head, and I probably agree with you. But I think the fullback positions are a bit more key. Definitely need midfielders. I think we obviously need another striker with Cavani and Ronaldo. Cavani going and Ronaldo at the end of his career. Mason obviously gone through issues off the pitch. Rashford, lack of form. Martial going out the door. Doesn't leave a lot of options. So, yeah, I think we're struggling, guys, aren't we? In terms of Eric Ten Hag's got a massive task on his hands, and I don't really know what the right answers are.
I'd keep Shaw from the defence. I still maintain that most of the players that came out of the Euros last year didn't have a good season. It took them a long time to pick up pace. I think Shaw was in the same hat with quite a few of those players. It was only really Declan Rice that came out and hit the ground running throughout a full season. Kane started poorly. Pickford's had his issues. You could go through the whole England team. Phillips has been injured. So there's a lot of them come out with issues, but I'd keep Shaw. I think we need 3 centre halves. I've defended Maguire, but I'd be happy. I wouldn't be disappointed if he left. I wouldn't be too disappointed if Varane went. If Ten Hag said, "Well, you're never fit enough, you can go," but who's going to take on his ridiculous wages? I think Madrid took the piss out of us getting him in because he's just never fit. I think we need 2 right backs because it seems that Wan-Bissaka's got no way back in because the fans just won't accept it, even though I still think he's a terrific defender. So yes, she's correct. I think maybe not just 2 midfielders. I'd probably go with 3. I'd like one of them to be Neves from Wolves. I think he's the ball playing, and I think he's an achievable amount of money. You could get him for the sort of hopefully the 50 million range, which sounds crazy, doesn't it? I mean, 15 years ago, they thought an average price to pay. But if you could get an axis of something like a Neves and a Phillips, and then someone else to back them up. Strikers, I think he might. Does he lean on the youth? Where does he start? I mean, there's no way he's going to get enough money to solve all the problems anyway. Plus, you pay Man United tax as soon as we make a bid, it goes up 20%, 20%, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a job across 3 windows. Sorry. Yeah.
No, go on,
24, I think.
Yeah. So it's a job across 3 windows, and after all, you've gone through the fullback or Shaw's quality, but you cannot trust his fitness. Telles does not have the quality, like even the base quality. So you need a left back. You need a right back with Arman Bissaka going. You probably need at least one centre back. You need 2 midfielders. You need like a left-footed right winger. You need like a centre forward. And then eventually, when the team is playing well, you're probably thinking you need a goalkeeper as well. Because only time will tell if De Gea is as good of a keeper for Ten Hag. He's probably good when you are getting peppered with shots. But when you want your goalkeeper to play out, when you want your goalkeeper to be outside the box, be comfortable touching the ball, then you need a goalkeeper as well. So you're looking at 7, 8 players possibly in the next 3 windows.
Yeah, it's just a massive task he's got on his hands. I think there's room to be excited. I mean, Ben, have you got anything else to kind of add to that?
I think the key thing for me, which I didn't realise until it appeared on social media, as most things do, was Ralph Rangnick obviously gave an interview about the time frame that he felt that United were going to sort of be on before they're competing with the likes of Liverpool and City again. And then literally after the first week of Erik ten Hag being in situ, after being announced, he did a press after the Palace game, and he'd gone to, with the way Erik ten Hag is and what I've seen, I'd give it, we'd be good within 3 windows. Not that he didn't say 3 windows before we're competing for the league, but he said 3 windows to be a hell of a lot better than we are now, which says everything about the planning aspect that obviously Erik ten Hag seems to be pushing. And then you listen to what Steve McLaren said about how, when he worked with him, he's the most methodical and detailed person he's been in the game with, where he's been working alongside since Sir Alex, in terms of everything to do with players, how he treats the players, knowing everything about them, every detail, what makes them tick like he used to, the way he is with all the staff. I know obviously some of that was maybe for the PR aspect, but you've also got to show that you can also tell when someone's doing something and they've been told to, and someone's doing something because they want to. And I think all the pictures that you saw of him struck me as someone who's doing something because he actually wants to be doing that, and not because they've said to him, you need to be shaking his hand because it just looks good for the camera. Because you can't hide emotion. It screams out at you when you're being told to do something you don't want to do. So I think we'll actually have a good window, because I think Erik ten Hag will look at it and be realistic first and foremost, and then he'll be optimistic in the sense that he's going to look at players that we would have never considered before under Ed Woodward. So in that sense alone, you're going to see change for the positive, because he's going to actually look at players with a view to what they can actually offer the team, rather than Ed Woodward was what they're going to sell in the shirt sales, irrespective of whether that's good for the team or not. And I think you'll see that in his first signings. I think his first signing will lay the foundations of the direction and the type of player he's going to be looking at.
That's good. Well, look, guys, it's been an hour and 10 minutes, and I didn't think we'd get through an hour, to be honest, with the Man United goals that we had to pick. So I appreciate your time. Some comments say we've not been as interactive tonight as we could have been, and I apologise for that. I think we've just had a good chat between the four of us. Obviously,
sometimes it's nice to have a chat.
Yeah, and obviously, like I say, I don't think there's been a great deal of people adding comments in. I've tried to get everybody on the show. So, for next time, we'll try and make it more interactive, guys, and you can add your comments in. We'll try to respond as much as we possibly can. Obviously, the guys on the panel want to get their say as well, and they've done a bit of legwork on some of the goals leading up to this show this week. So it was just kind of a chance to get the guys' view on it, and apologies if it's been as interactive as it possibly could have been. So. But again, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I think we're not far off 6,000 subscribers, I believe, and one of you is going to tell me that's true in a minute, and
we'll be
back me up on that one. So don't
yes,
forget
we are.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Ben. Thanks, Neil. So Ash,
I don't do all these. Yeah, I'm old, Reece. Give me a break.
So yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Obviously, follow us on Twitter as well. That's a big platform for us as well. So please follow us on Twitter. And do all the other stuff, like and share, and do all the good stuff as well. Thanks to Neil, Stu, Suash, and Ben for adding their
Cheers, guys.
homework to these goals today. And we'll catch you in the next one, guys. So thank you.